This recording is the 50th reunion gathering of the Taft School class of 1925, held at the Mayflower Inn, Washington, Connecticut, on May 16, 1975. There are 19 classmates here tonight. 14 brought their wives for this gala occasion. We are sitting around having a few drinks, awaiting the arrival of our guest, Headmaster Lance Odden. Federal, state, and local censors have prevented us from recording all the proceedings going on here tonight. You will, however, hear enough to know that we are having a good time. The headmaster has now arrived and is with us. I'm therefore turning the mic over to D.W. Smith, our Toastmaster. This is Duke Gray signing off.
I've done this deal at least 5 times, Lance. Haven't I, in the last 2 years?
I would think.
And I always say the same thing. I say it's not necessary to introduce this man. Everybody knows him. He's known all around the country, and you hear nothing but the most marvelous compliments for what's happening at Taft School under the regime of Lance Odden. Welcome, Lance.
Thank you very much.
Andy Williamson has a little something, a little business to perform here. Andy?
Well, John asked if I'd say a few words, and that reminded me of a story about the Wright brothers, airplane pioneers. They were at a dinner, and the Toastmaster called on Orville, and Orville got up and said, my brother's the one that does the talking. And so the Toastmaster looked at his brother, and his brother stood up and he said, Orville just made the speech. 3 years ago, when we were considering just what to do for a 50th anniversary gift to Taft, our primary purpose was to start a fund to honor Mr. Taft and the masters of the 1920s. That fund was started with a few initial gifts and aided by a total interest of over $1,000 has grown to an exact amount of $20,000. This is the gift of the class of 25 on its 50th anniversary. We hope that the income from this may help Taft and the students who come there. But what we really mean to accomplish is to present our thanks to the Taft School of 1925. And that school was the king and the masters. In appreciation of their influence and help, the class of 1925 now presents the Taft of 1975 a check for $20,000 to establish a permanent trust to be known as the Class of 1925 Economics Symposium Fund. It is our sincere pleasure, Mr. Odden, to hand you this check.
Thank you very much.
I'll now ask Bill Boyd if he will present the deed of trust under which this gift is given.
Bill, will you step over here near this burping machine so you can...
Well, we've pumped up this little sum, and now we'll tell you how to spend it.
Okay.
And here it is. And I hope that we can collaborate to the greater glory of the Taft School with this. And we have great hopes for it as doing a lot for the school.
Thank you, Bill, very much.
Bill, we have to do that again for these, to be immortalized here. You have to get used to these things.
Here are my 6.
Thank you very much.
And now I think that Duke Gray has a little business at hand. Duke?
Well, I got roped into this thing, but it seems at this time of the year, those who have done amazing jobs in their professions, in their business, administrations, or other activities have reached high peaks. And so they all get nominated for Oscars. They all get nominated for halls of fame, such as football, baseball, so forth and so on. But I've never heard of any hall of fame has to do with headmasters. I don't know of any headmaster hall of fame. But the class of 25 can and wants to do something to honor Lance Odden for the good job that he has done and is continuing to do at Taft. Therefore, I propose the name of Lance Odden, nominate him hereby as a honorary trustee, honorary member of the class of 1925.
There better not be any dissent. Remember who's the headmaster.
He's got the man now, I don't know.
The nomination has been made, and I heard a number of seconds. Before it goes to a formal vote, which we'll have to appoint electors of the commissioners of election here, it has been the practice in Washington lately, whenever anybody is appointed or nominated anything, to appoint a committee to investigate their qualifications for the job. However, in my capacity as Toastmaster tonight, I hereby formally waive this requirement and suggest election by acclamation.
Well, now that he's now an official member of the class of 25, we hereby present you with this great badge of honor.
Thank you very much.
Which wherever you go, Lance, you will have the affection and the honor of the class of 25.
Thank you very
See
much.
that you take care of it in good shape.
I will. I have now opportunity to respond to a number of these things. On a lighter vein, I would say that I think you all have to be very proud of yourselves. Bill Boyd told me that one of his friends down in Fairfield County is organizing the Choate reunion, and in a much larger class than yours, they were only able to muster up 8 or 9, which goes to show that Taft men are indeed tougher than Choaties, as we've always thought. I would also suggest that maybe it's appropriate that I be named a trustee of this class, because everybody has, since I've arrived, has told me that it's a good thing I'm here while you're still all in a good shape, for the cocktail hour has gone too long and you're behaving properly. More seriously, I personally never knew the king, obviously, but I think that anybody that is a historian, anybody that loves the Taft School, knew that he was a very great man. And I think that the school is very deeply honored by your remembering the king and setting up this fund. I can assure you that the goodness that you have done for Taft is very, very deeply appreciated by every faculty member, by every member of the student body, and I can assure you that the spirit that is behind this, which is very important to Bill Boyd and which John Jenkins has worked so very hard for, and Duke and everybody else over the years, and Andy with his first and last contribution to make this thing go, that the spirit of independence in the private sector of education is vital to me as an individual. And I would like to say just a word about what that means today. There is, I think, in my time as headmaster, some very grave threat to the independent sector of every element of American society. Just yesterday, I spent 5 hours meeting with members of the state legislature here in Connecticut, trying to fight for the prevention of a bill which would, in essence, license independent schools in this country, or in this state. There is a movement underfoot in state and federal governments to increasingly interfere with the private sector. And it is really only through the kind of financial support and the kind of program that you're setting up here, where young people are going to learn about how important it is to have independent private enterprise in this country, that we're going to preserve the system that we've all grown in and loved and which means so much to us. It is, I think that it's an extraordinarily timely thing that your class has chosen to support private enterprise and the Taft School in this way. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Let me just introduce Patsy, because she is my wife and a very important part of Taft. And I think that I really have got to say that we would love to stay longer, but we know you've got a lot of recollecting to do, and you certainly don't want any headmasters to hear your stories, because you might get in trouble. Yeah.
You as headmaster were
What would I do? Well, I would hope that. I'm not quite sure what.
I'll tell you what the king did.
What did the king do?
He declared a half holiday and took us all up on top of the hill at 8 o'clock in the morning to see.
May I ask one question? I want to know whether you're allowed to look directly at the sun. That's good.
We did look at the waves that whirled along the ground, though, on top of the snow.
Actually took the whole school up on the hill where the water tank is so that we could see that morning.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Only couldn't know it.
I will use that as a precedent should we have another eclipse. Very good. Thank you all very much, and I hope to see you tomorrow.
I'd like
Good.
to
Delighted
propose
to.
a toast. I'd like to propose a toast to Mr. and Mrs. Austin. Taft is in good hands.
Yeah.
Great. Welcome to drink.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you all very, very much. Have a great reunion.
We have the privilege of having with us tonight a group of Taft undergraduates, singing group, which are the only group that is superior to the Whiffenpoos at Yale. They call themselves the Orinokos. They are now, will introduce themselves and will entertain us with their song.
Thank you very much. Before we start, we'd like to thank Mr. Noyes, our director, whom I'm sure many of you know. And we'd also like to thank the hospitality of Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Gray, who made us right at home here. Our first song for you tonight is entitled Down Over the Hill. Hang on.
You better leave the room.
There was no pun intended, I assure you.
I'm sure that this was a...
We'll get back at you tomorrow.
You all ready?
Down over the hill, there is a little still where the smoke goes curling to the sky. You can tell very well if you'll only stop to smell that there's liquor in the air close by. It fills the air with a perfume rare that's only known to a few. So pucker up your lip and take a little sip of the good old Mountain Dew. Yes, sir, of the good old Mountain Dew.
Very good.
Our next song will be Mood Indigo, a favorite of Duke Ellington.
How about Duke Gray?
Same thing.
That was good.
You ain't been blue, no, no, no. You ain't been blue till you've had that mood indigo. That feeling goes stealing down to my shoes while I sit and sigh. Go long blues. Always get that mood indigo since my baby said goodbye, goodbye. In the evening when lights are low, I'm so lonely I could cry. 'Cause there's nobody who cares about me. I'm just a soul who's bluer than blue can be. When I get that mood indigo, I could lay me down and die. You ain't been blue, no, no, no. You ain't been blue till you've had that mood indigo. That feeling goes stealing down to my shoes while I sit and sigh. Go long.
Very good. You're all right.
Thank you very much. For our closing number, we're going to do a Negro spiritual called I Want to Be Ready When He Comes.
Over the hill.
Right there comes it.
The choices have all been very appropriate, Joe. Choices have all been very appropriate.
Believe me, we had nothing like this in mind.
Very appropriate. From over the hill to get to
Ready when he comes. I want to be ready when he comes. Well, I want to be ready when he comes again. He's coming again so soon.
Never let him catch you at the barroom door.
Never let him catch you at the barroom door. Never let him catch you at the barroom door. He's coming again so soon. Well, I want to be ready when he comes. I want to be ready when he comes. Well, I want to be ready when he comes again. He's coming again so soon.
Never let him catch you with a tattling tongue.
Never let him catch you with a tattling tongue. Never let him catch you with a tattling tongue. He's coming again so soon. Well, I want to be ready when he comes. I want to be ready when he comes. Well, I want to be ready when he comes again. He's coming again so soon.
Never let him catch you with a lie in your mouth.
Never let him catch you with a lie in your mouth. Never let him catch you with a lie in your mouth. He's coming again so soon. Well, I want to cry, hold him when he comes. I want to cry, hold him when he comes. Well, I want to cry, hold him when he comes again. He's coming again so soon. Hold him when he comes. I want to cry, hold him when he comes. Well, I want to cry, hold him when he comes again. He's coming again so soon.
Thank you very, very good. We appreciated that. Thank you very much. Very nice. Encore! One more.
They gotta go to the next one.
Okay, the song we're going to do for you next, and please don't ask, is called Juniors First, and it's a takeoff on the Yale song. We've changed a few lyrics, though. We've changed a few lyrics, though.
There's an awful lot of Yale men here.
As lower mids we have our days.
Roll.
We sweep the floors and carry trays.
If at first we don't succeed, roll. In the merry life we lead, roll.
As fiddlers next we have our fun.
Roll.
We keep the masters on the run.
Roll. If at first we don't succeed, roll. Still the merry life we lead, roll.
As upper mids we act our part.
Roll.
That's making love and winning hearts.
If at first we don't succeed, roll. Still the merry life we lead, roll.
In senior year, we take our ease.
Roll.
We smoke our pipes and swin our teas.
If at first we don't succeed, roll. Still the merry life we lead, roll.
And then into the world we come. Made good friends and studied some.
If at first we don't succeed, roll. Still the merry life we lead, roll.
The saddest tale we have to tell.
foldy, roldy, roll.
It's when we bid Old Taft farewell.
If at first we don't succeed, foldy, roldy, roll. Still the merry life we lead, foldy, roldy, roll, roll, roll.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very good.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Get to the weapons folks.
I hope you all got it.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Good luck.
I don't know what to do with this. Gentlemen, at our class day in New Haven. I'm sorry you both weren't there, but we had the new blues for dinner last Friday night. Yeah, they're all women. Huh? You don't go for that stuff. I'm glad I missed that. I'm Austin Cheney.
Oh, yes, dear. I think I met you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, that's
See, I
right.
think this gets turned off or something or other. I don't know what
Don't
happened.
mind if I say who I think you remind me of.
Yeah, what the hell was that? Nobody said that. 30 years since we gave me all.
You're it. You got wires.
There's only two of them.
I didn't know what you were with it.
We'll put this on the off then.
Which I've been asked to make. Tomorrow at 12:30, the entire class will meet in the lobby just outside the main dining room over in Watertown. And there will be a very stirring parade into the dining room led by our good friend, Mr. Roland Osterweiss, who learned how to do it last year at Yale and will carry the banner to loud applause, I'm sure. Immediately after lunch, anybody that can still stand will gather on the steps back of the school facing the pond to have the class photograph taken. That ends the serious business now.
If it rains, you go to the gym.
There are a lot of other stuff here. Last spring, was it last spring or last fall? What anyhow? We stopped by in New Hampshire, Abby and I, on our way up to Maine, and stopped by John and Katrina Jenkins, and in a euphorious moment, he asked me if I would be Toastmaster at this function. I stupidly said yes, not realizing what I was in for. Of course, we went to Europe and got back on Monday, and when I got back, I found out what I was supposed to do, and I've had 7 changes of what I was supposed to do since then. So I'll do as I got in, please, which I always have. I think the only reason they picked me as Toastmaster was because I can talk louder than anybody else, and I noticed in the class annual, I have a copy of it around here, that I was voted the noisiest in the class, so I'll see if I can live up to it. But a Toastmaster is supposed to start off a proceeding by saying something very funny. I gotta think, what the hell's funny about looking back on 50 years? It's pretty sad. So I thought I'd tell a sad story, and I dug around and I found what I think is a very sad story, which I think you'll all agree. But it's very appropriate for the occasion. It concerns a man and his wife who were about to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and they thought the nicest thing they could do would be to try to reenact in every respect what they had done on their honeymoon. So, fortunately, the hotel that they had attended at Niagara Falls was still there, and he called up and was able to engage the same room. So they went to Niagara Falls, they had the same hotel, the same room, they ordered the same dinner in the same dining room. And when they came back, one of their friends accosted him and said, well, how did everything go? And he said, was it just the same as it was 50 years ago? He said, yes, we went to the same hotel, we had the same room, we had the same beautiful view over the falls, we ate the same dinner. There was only one thing that was different. So I said, what was that? Well, he said, this time I was the one that went in the bathroom and cried. I don't think that's very funny.
goes wrong.
But anyhow, I don't know whether to get into any business now, or should I get into the business now? You're the director.
I don't know, Dorothy, you've got all the dope there. Jenkins changed it
Just
7
about the
times,
time
I changed it
start
4
saying
more.
repairs, the bids will come in and start clearing the table. Remember the bids? The ladies, the ladies don't remember the bids. You remember Julia? Oh, Julia. Remember Julia? Remember Helen? Red-headed Helen?
Sure. What a memory you've got.
Oh, yes, sir, boy.
I couldn't remember their name. That's why he's Toastmaster.
Well, anyhow, it's got a beautiful. She was 50 years ahead of her time in burning her brow, I'll tell you that.
God, she was pretty. She was pretty, wasn't she? She was 58 years ahead of her time anyway.
Remember what they put in the food?
Yeah, well, that's why.
What's that got to do with salad, John?
Well, anyhow, you'd all be interested in knowing that the class participation in gifts this year, I think, is fantastic. 96%. I think it's quite fantastic. At least that's the figure Duke gave me. Amazing. And I think the guy that is responsible for that is right over here. The Collinos kid himself, John Francis Jenkins, who...
Let's have a speech.
Come on, John.
No, don't.
He said, don't let him get up.
No,
You'll
he's
never
not
get him down
supposed-
again.
he's not
Okay.
supposed to. He doesn't want
But anyhow, I don't know whether you all know vote of thanks.
We sure do.
He cost us a lot of money, but let's say thank you, John. And at the same time, we owe another vote of thanks to Dalton Knight, otherwise known as Duke Gray, here,
She did. It's a
who
beautiful
has
name.
worked very hard on this whole thing and pulled it all together and got us here together. So I think we owe a vote of thanks to him, too.
Thanks, fellas.
And to GM's favorite here, oh boy, William Booth. Boy, I think I should remind you, I'm going to tell you a story because you all know it about him. Do you remember, how many of you were in GM's class when he gave us the famous bicycle problem? Do you remember the bicycle problem?
I remember it.
For those who
Only
don't
for
remember the
scientific,
bicycle problem,
Scientific. Only for scientific. Young fellas.
Jim
and I weren't there.
GM gave us a problem one time in which he gave us the length of a course to be run and the number of revolutions for the wheel. But anyway, you were supposed to figure out what was the diameter of the bicycle wheel. Not a very difficult problem. And the answers came in, and he started reading them off, and sucking on his tooth. And there were some with 28 inches and some with 27.5 inches and some reasonable size of a bicycle, so he got to one. 7/8 inch. Boyd! If your body was commensurate with your brain, you could just about ride that bicycle. But he overcame all that, and he is the guy who was responsible for this thought of how we should spend this fund, or dedicated spending. And I think we all ought to thank him for it. Bill, we thank you. And last but not least is Andy, known for some reason as Pop. Oh, I have a picture here to prove it. Andrew, who was like Sir Bedivere in the Tales of King Arthur, the first to last. Anyhow, he was the first donor to the fund, and he was the man who rounded it out to a nice, even figure that it came out. You don't really think that it came out exactly that much. Somebody had it even. He didn't.
98 cents.
Oh, actually, the fund it came to $20,007, and he took the $7 back to that. But anyhow, vote of thanks to Now, let's see if we've got anything else, any important business here. There are no good sign, we won't call on them again. Oh, Duke has got some little information. Duke, would you tell us about the cost of our bar bill tonight? Because that's pretty important. We don't want to
That's a very important thing. When the tickets went out, for the party, we had $50 for a couple of overnight dinner and breakfast. And for these guys that left their wives home, it was going to cost them $32. And those who lived nearby and were going to come and just, gargle up their dinner and so forth, it was $10 a piece. And then we had a little workout with the management, and we decided instead of having a table with all the booze on and everybody help themselves, that we'd have a couple of waitresses, good-looking ones, running around, getting drinks put together. And so he was going to tell me how many drinks were served, and he said it would average about $2 per person. Well, I came up with something, but Don, who was a strict scientific next door here, corrected my figures, and he came up and raised the bid up. Boy, I was going to let you guys go for nothing. But Don came up with, what was it, $260 was it, Don?
No, it comes to $2.90.
Oh, $2.90. So, yeah, $3 for singles and single people. So I mean, $6 for you guys and wives. I knew it was expensive anyway to have a wife. And so this is the way it works out. And so when you pay your bills, you people are staying at the inn here, you'll get hooked to your $50 plus. If you're two of you, another $6. And if you're all by yourself like Gilman, only $3. So that's that right. Now if you people who are living nearby and take off after dinner, just don't take off and leave John and I with a bill. Step into the office and pay your $3 or $6, as the case may be. Aside from that, I don't know anything else. You're gonna, well, before. No, the count is in, Ken. From here on, there's cash on the line, and God we trust, all others cash. I think that's the story.
There are a few other little business items, but I think what we ought to do is let the girls clear the table and get the dessert on, assuming that we're entitled to it, and then we'll have a few little more items afterwards. One other thing. Excuse me, just a minute. In the other room, I put down my copy of the 1925 annual and also my copy of the newest annual. And some crook in this crowd has stolen it. I'd like to know what it is. The little red one, I mean.
I can give you another.
I paid for that one.
I'll give you another for free.
Don't give it to him. Sell it to him, Bill. I was afraid of that.
Bunch of crooks here, Don. I know that.
Letters.
And cards, but
the letters
are the main.
Written to some of our classmates who, for physical or reasons of health, themselves or members of their families, were unable to be here, even though they have been very strong supporters. And it would be very nice if we pass these around and let each member of the class describe his name to them. So you may want to tell us a little bit about it and then pass them around while we're still at the table, because once we get scattered, it won't be possible to do it.
And, of course, Phil Meade. Johnny Becker has been in poor health for some little time. Wasn't able to get here tonight, but he has been a big contributor to our class, not only in funds, but in personal work. He was class secretary for many years and has sent a couple of boys to Taft. And it's just too darn bad he can't be with us tonight. And one of the letters goes to Johnny. Charlie Miller, of course, we all remember. Great guy. I've been fortunate enough to have seen him in Florida for the last 4 or 5 years. He's in pretty punk shape, but got all the spunk in the world, and we've enjoyed going down there and having lunch with him at least once a year and seeing him and Uretta at their nice house in Florida. The third chap, of course, Phil Meade, has a wife who's very ill, and he hasn't been able to make it up here at all. But Phil is one of the most responsive guys in our class. He loves the class. He loves the association with the class, and he has been a very generous contributor
toward the class for all these years.
So we're going to pass these around, and if everybody would sign it, I think we can send it off. They'd all get a big kick out of it.
May I suggest that you
Yeah.
read these letters, which are similar, so we wouldn't have to all read them, then we could just sign them. You read them.
Don, you've got a good loud booming voice. You read them.
Well, why don't we let the girls distribute
Yeah,
this, and then we'll get at it,
Instead
okay?
of everybody reading them individually,
Yeah,
before they sign
yeah.
them.
And then pass them around. I think they'd all appreciate it. Then we got some postcards, too, for fellows who just couldn't make it, that's all. Or who are not dying of hydrophobia or something else.
He never What's the problem?
As King Henry VIII said, to each of his 6 wives, it won't keep you very long. To everybody here at the class of 25, and particularly to the committee, John Jenkins, Joe Forrest, all of you at the table. And I noticed one thing going over the program for tomorrow. It said, visit the girls' dormitories at 9 o'clock. In the first place, there weren't any girls in dormitories when we were in school, and we were too late to all.
How about Bid's corridor?
But the toast goes like this. Here's the love of a beautiful maid, the love of a staunch, true man, the love of a baby unafraid have existed since life began. But the greatest love, the love of loves, greater than the love of a mother, is the infinite, tender, passionate love of one drunken bum for another.